I'd like to welcome you all. This is my 19th year, actually, having delivered the inauguration speech and taken part in these meetings. I'm really happy to have this opportunity. Thank you so much. As you all know, in the last 2 years, world steel sector has slowed down. And this situation is mainly due to China's situation, China Republic. In 2012, as you see, after the production number in 2022, it reached up to 863 million. And this year, there is also a kind of recession, even though it is not very high. It's automatically. Sorry, I showed not Chinese number. I mispronounced the world excluding China. 1,500,000 tons from 1,018,000 tons. And this year, even though there is a slight improvement, but in total, it's almost head to head. This is something that we can say. This is a number of the production, as you see on the screen. For that reason, in the world steel sector, China has grown by 20% in the past. These years already have gone between 2012. Each and every year it grew by 18%, 20%. So from 100 million to 700 million tons level, but right now it has tanked. It showed some stagnation here. It's stopped. And this is the situation of China. It is around 11%, but as of this last month, there is a negative situation here rather than an improvement. And towards the end of the year, it's going to conclude the year head to head. And Turkey, there is also a decrease. As you see, it goes down to 8.8%, minus 8.8%. In the last 2 months, there is a change, actually, but I have to state this. The increase in our production is not a realistic increase. It's because of the basis effect. So from this point, as of the upcoming 2 months, compared to 2022, it is possible to have more production. Well, 2.2 million tons, 2.6 million tons in 2022. Now we're going to have 3 million tons of production. In November and December, we're going to see an increase. However, in 2021, in the past years again, 3,750,000 tons. 3,350,000 tons were produced. So we were close to 3.5 million. We could reach 3.5 million, and in total, 33 million tons could be reached. So if that happens, we could close the year just a couple of points before 2022. In terms of capacity utilization, world steel sector has 2.5 million ton capacity, 2.44 million tons capacity, and 77%. It was a level, as you see, capacity utilization, it rose up to 80% in 2023. So you can see the numbers, 78, 74. So this 74 shows the highest capacity utilization of 2021. And the world's number is 74. This is really happy that we reached this number, actually. And as of the upcoming year, 74.3 will be even exceeded, and Turkey is going to exceed this number. I'm going to show you this number later on. And you can see the development of the world Turkish steel industry. So as you see, GDP in 2023 is around 3.9. As of two halves, these meetings generally coincide with 29th or 28th of the years. It is not possible to bring the latest data. For instance, third quarter is going to be announced at the 30th of November, and also exportation figures of the previous month will be announced 2 days later. So we are following the figures a little bit from behind, but tendency shows that it's going to be 4%. So GDP will be around 4%. Based on this year's indicators, most important development belongs to construction. 5 years, it showed negative progress, but this year there is 5.3% improvement. It could be related to earthquake, it could be temporary, but I don't think this is temporary. In the upcoming years, this effect will prevail because activities with respect to earthquake will continue for years in the southeastern part of our country. But the real activities will take place in northern fault line in Istanbul. 650,000 residential places will be built. 300,000 of them will be initiated. This is what the ministry had announced. So compared to previous years, I believe construction sector will continue further. And on the manufacturing, there is recession by 0.2%, and it's going to be positive. This is what I believe. And as of the third quarter, 16.3 was our number. It's 8.8. And this is Turkey's crude steel production. And in the crude steel production, as you all know, in 2021, Turkey reached to 40,000 tons, but in 2022, it recessed down to 35 million tons, and in 2022 and 2023, as you see, almost 33 million tons will be the figure that we can utter. However, new capacity is going to be utilized, especially in the flat steel. Almost 6 million new capacity will be utilized. There are some new trial ones and new ones that are on their way as of 2024. They will have positive repercussions, and in other areas, like I mentioned before, an additional 500,000 tons of capacity has been mentioned. So Turkey is going to grow, even though it's going to be slower in the upcoming years, it will continue. So as of this year, our production, our manufacturing is 34 million. Mesut Bey has said we've grown fast. However, 33, 35, 37, 33, there are ups and downs in our growth. After 40 million tons, 10% growth was expected. However, because of the changes in the world, we had a negative situation after Russia's occupation in Ukraine. There came big pressures over energy prices, and Turkish management in energy market was generally given the big pressure over energy-intense markets. For that reason, after August 30, as of the day of this application started, exportation was unfortunately impacted very negatively. So afterwards, the exportation recession couldn't be recovered, and it had a negative impact on the production.
Kullanım oranlarına baktığımızda Türk çelik sektörünün kapasitesi 55 milyon ton. Uzun yıllar 50 ile 55 arasında çok sınırlı bir dalgalanma oldu. Bu yıl 60 milyon ton seviyesine ikinci yarı itibariyle ulaştık. 2023 yılının süre bakarsanız zaten 10 ay için 50 milyon ton ifade ediliyor. Bu 12 ay için 60 milyon ton demek. 46 milyon ton olan da 55 milyon ton seviyesini ifade ediyor. Dolayısıyla kapasite kullanım oranlarında bir olumsuz görüntüye sebep olan bir durumla karşı karşıyayız. Kapasite kullanım oranı ilk defa %55 seviyesine kadar gerilemiş bulunuyor. Şimdi burada dikkat edecek olursak benzeri bir durumu bir de 2014-2015 yılında özellikle yaşamıştık. Orada da durum Çin Halk Cumhuriyeti'nde. Çin Halk Cumhuriyeti Türkiye ile birlikte bütün dünya piyasalarını adeta işgal eden bir görüntü yaratmıştı. Çin Halk Cumhuriyeti'ne karşı dünyanın her yerinde çelik sektörlerinin reaksiyonları G7 ve G20 toplantılarına da yansımış ve Çin Halk Cumhuriyeti 2020 yılı sonuna kadar kapasitelerini azaltma konusunda bir hedef belirlemişti. Bunun da etkisi hemen aynı yıl rakamlara yansıdı. Bizim rakamlarımızda da 64,5, 73, 71 gibi iyileşmeler görebiliyoruz. Fakat tabii bu arada kapattığı atıl kapasiteleri
Actually, the non-effective capacities had to change with the modern capacities. There wasn't a major decline in capacity. Now we've got a more competitive Republic of China in front of us. So when we look at the sectors that consume steel, except the automotive sector, all the other sectors compared to previous years, they are kind of, there has been a decline, but we see that they're on the growth trend with 9.7%, for instance, in the white household goods, and also durable goods, it's 6.7%, for instance. And the automotive sectors, on a year-on-year basis, there has been a compensation. Actually, it was minus 9%. So now it has grown to 11.7%. So besides the construction sector, the manufacturing sector, we do believe that is on a healthy trend. So this is something positive for our steel sector. But the negative thing here is that it's due to import, which I'm going to be talking you through in a moment. So looking at the ultimate steel consumption, there has been a 1.18% of increase. We do believe that that is going to be improved next year. We will be listening to Barış's comments on that. I'm not going to be going into the details. And in the there has been an increase of 18.5% in the steel consumption. Of course, in such a country where there is this high consumption rate, how can there be a retreat of 8.8%? I will be talking you through on that in a moment. So the ultimate product manufacturing in Turkey, the flat goods, for instance, became more popular. And this year, the difference between flat and long products, the gap is a bit larger, higher. So in our overall consumption, and we see that the rates are going to increase. And looking at consumption, we see that there is a break-even point. There is this 8 million tons of gap, actually, which is a better situation compared to the previous years. Hopefully in the flat goods, both in terms of production and consumption, is going to become more prevailing in the Turkish economy. Turkey, the flat production, flat product import, we see that it's around about 50%. In 2022, it was 49.6%, and then it went up to 49.7%. So despite extraordinary decline in our exports, which is around about 50%, while the domestic consumption was not impacted. Importation does not come to an end. 49.17. Its share in European Union is like when it goes over 20%. They definitely ring the doom bell, but here still, I mean, we are up to almost 50% in terms of import. And here we generally do not use these tables, but in order to show you the entire picture, well, the Republic of China, of course, is the fundamental reason of this import. In 2020, 332 million tons of import was carried out. Now it is 2.4 million tons, which is 7-fold higher. And each year this increase is ongoing. Southern Korea, there has been fluctuations around about 600, 700, and now it is 1,070,000,000 tons. And Russia, after the sanctions, actually there was a loosening there, but still we see that we are importing from them, and from Japan we also do import. Interestingly speaking, for instance, Egypt is a country that we do not do imports at all. But thanks to the benefits of the free trade agreement, 230 million tons of exports is carried out. In Malaysia, actually, there is this export initiative, and the Chinese companies actually were residing in Malaysia. They do that. On the one hand, China directly exports and then is also residing in Asian countries as well. And from those facilities, they're also exporting to Turkey. In that respect, we see that Turkey's steel foreign trade is pro-import and con-export. There is a surplus of imports in that respect. We see 17.6, 16.6, 19.9, and then we see that all of a sudden import has surpassed exports, and its ratio between exports and imports is 54%. So this doesn't only go for steel. This is something extremely annoying for the overall Turkish economy, and Turkey needs to get on top of this matter. Well, Russia, despite all the sanctions, still exports highly to Turkey, and our exports to Russia is only 20,000 tons. We had a discussion with the Turkish delegation as to the application of the association. There was this dumping investigation which was opened. They did not comment on it. We did not comment, but we only showed them the pictures, the numbers, and they could not say anything. We sell only 1 unit and buy 200 units back from them. This actually kind of suffocates the Turkish steel sector. The Republic of China, I had already talked to you on that. It is clearly seen. The Southern Korea, this goes the same as well. So Turkey has to restructure new balances, and once it taps into its new capacity, I'm sure that, Turkey's facing a major problem will be dealt with, because there is sufficient demand in Turkey, which is 37.5 million, and next year it will be around about 40 million tons, even go beyond that. So when it comes to supply and demand, if we can actually ensure the balance there, I don't think that there would be a problem faced in Turkey. And as you also notice, recently, in the recent years, mostly, import has ceased in the European countries. They do certain consortiums, which seems to be against China, but even though it is against China, for instance, with the United States and the European Union, there is a cooperation going on against China. That is what they mention. So first of all, any cooperation that is claimed to be against China, somehow Turkey is involved. So this actually, they also see Turkey as a dangerous country, and also We should be mindful in that respect. And our trade with the United States, you see it here, it's from 2 million ton. It is now 150,000 tons. I mean, it is definitely devastating, and there hasn't been any improvement in this respect. Looking at our overall trade, export, import is 53.1% kind of with the United States, so which is its lowest in the recent years. So we have to immediately prove to ourselves this. So the largest steel exporters, Turkey, broke the record and got the 4th place. And it's due time that we're going to be taking the 3rd place. And so once the 2023 numbers are announced, I'm sure that Turkey will be in the 3rd place on this list. These actually show these quarters show the picture clearly. In the first quarter, import was minus 6.8 and 8.2 in the second quarter, minus 7.3 in the third quarter. So the numbers here are value numbers, and that is due to the fluctuation in prices. However, looking at the quantity, it's 5.9, 41, 14.8. So we see these increases. So in the first 9 months of 2023, in terms of amount, there has been an increase of 13.6%. In 3 quarters, the situation is extremely unfortunately negative. There has been a minus, for instance, 10% of production decline. And then in the fourth quarter, most probably we'll see that this is going to be like 15%. And in consumption, there is this promising 25% of increase. And hopefully in the upcoming years, this is going to increase even further, and the Turkish steel sector in this new atmosphere is going to more stand on its own 2 feet firmly on the ground, so that we will have a more balanced and robust steel sector in Turkey. And the investigations, audits that are opened up, hopefully it's going to be contributing to our overall picture. Thank you so very much for following the missions. Well, Mr. Veysel, is there any question to Mr. Veysel? I will have a question, but first of all, let's see who's got questions from the hall. No, may I, in that respect? Oh, well, in the United States, when protectivism started, national security, so certain reasons were stated, but their, of course, ultimate target was to increase the capacity usage by over 80%. So after the investigations carried out, is there an estimated projection as to when how the capacity utilization will be like for the upcoming period? Well, as you all know, in 2021, we had actually achieved 74%, which was not that meaningful for us. I mean, 80% is more reasonable. The Republic of China, for instance, its capacity utilization is around about 90%, whereby it's 80% in Russia, although it is fluctuating. So 70%, it does not reflect, I mean, is not the case in those other countries. So Turkey, based on its consumption, it could easily achieve 75% and should have fluctuate between 75 to 80%. We've got the capacity to do that. 38 million, so 40 million of consumption. If that is the case, that we achieve in 24, and which is around about 10% of increase. And once that is reflected in domestic production, and the overall consumption will be 60 million tons, and then our capacity usage will be around about 75% in that respect. Okay, thank you so very much.